Welcome to the Deep Dust. In the huge, sometimes kind of wild world of online trends, some are just, well, harmless fun, right? A dance, maybe a filter.
Oh, totally
But
harmless.
then you get these other ones. They seem so simple, almost innocent, but they hide these incredibly dangerous consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And today, we're taking a deep dive into one of those chilling truths, the Salt and Ice Challenge.
Ah, yes, that one. It keeps coming back.
Exactly. You've probably heard of it, right?
Mm.
It sounds so basic. Just press salt and ice on your skin, see how long you can stand it.
Seems straightforward.
But here's the thing. Many people, especially kids, don't get. It's not just some silly stunt. It can cause, like, severe frostbite-type burns, permanent scars, even nerve damage. It's pretty scary stuff, particularly for teens.
It really is. The damage can be surprisingly severe.
So our mission today is to really unpack how this challenge works, understand the very real physical and psychological fallout,
Right.
figure out why it keeps popping up again, despite the dangers, and, talk about what we can actually do to maybe break this cycle.
That last part's crucial.
Yeah. And understanding this isn't just about being curious. It's vital for awareness, for protecting young people you might know, and just for making the online space a bit safer for everyone. So let's get into it.
Okay.
So how did something like this, something so obviously potentially harmful, get so popular? When did it first really show up?
Well, it seems like it first started getting traction around 2012. This was sort of peak time for those big social media challenges popping up everywhere.
Right, like the Cinnamon Challenge era.
Exactly like that. And its spread was honestly fueled by how simple it is. I mean, all you need is table salt and ice cubes.
Stuff everyone has.
Pretty much. You sprinkle the salt on your skin usually, like forearms, hands, legs, put ice on top, hold it there. That's the whole challenge.
Okay, but what's the science?
Yeah.
Why is that combination so bad?
Okay, so this is the really shocking part. The salt does something pretty dramatic to the ice. It
Yeah.
massively lowers its freezing point. We're talking down to potentially minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about minus 29 Celsius.
Minus 20. Wow, that's colder than my freezer.
Way colder for direct contact. And at that temperature, it causes incredibly rapid tissue damage. It's like giving yourself severe frostbite or even a third-degree burn very, very quickly.
And the videos often show people performing almost,
Yeah.
grimacing, laughing through pain, friends cheering.
Yeah, there's absolutely a performative element. It's not just doing it, showing you can take the pain, maybe with music playing, sharing it online for likes, for views.
So how much of the appeal is just that performance, the reaction?
I think you've hit on a really critical point there. You've got that low barrier to entry salt ice. It costs nothing.
Right.
But then you add the powerful lure of social media fame, even just temporary attention. That's a potent mix, especially for younger users.
Uh-huh.
There's a study, I think 2018, Journal of Adolescent Health. It noted teens are really drawn to things offering quick social rewards, even if there's a personal risk.
So peer pressure plays a big role, like daring each other.
Absolutely. You hear things like, bet you can't last a minute, or do this, it'll blow up your page. It's all chasing that brief moment of online buzz.
And chasing that buzz leads straight to some really awful injuries. When you talk about pushing the body like that, what does it actually do? What's the damage?
The physical harm is, well, it's immediate and it can be profound. That extreme cold, supercharged by the salt, just devastates skin cells. You get second-degree, often even third-degree burns.
Third degree, that's serious.
They're very serious. It's not just a surface thing. These injuries can destroy multiple layers of skin. They often need major medical help. We're talking skin grafts sometimes, painful, extensive treatment.
Can you give us some real-world examples just to show how bad it gets?
Yeah, unfortunately, there are many. There was a case back in 2013, a 12-year-old boy in Pittsburgh. He got third-degree burns on his hand, needed surgery.
Wow. A 12-year-old.
And another one, 2017, a 14-year-old girl in the UK. She ended up with permanent scars on her forearm, and not just scars, but chronic pain because of it.
That's terrible. And these aren't just isolated cases.
Not at all. Emergency rooms have seen a steady stream of these injuries over the years. The American Academy of Dermatology estimated, hundreds of injuries annually just from this challenge. So it's definitely a wider public health issue.
And beyond the physical scars, which sound horrible enough, there's the psychological side, too. These are often kids, right? What are the invisible wounds?
That's such an important point. The trauma from having, disfiguring scars, especially as a teenager, can lead to really serious body image problems, maybe social isolation.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Plus, you have the pressure to fit in online. If a team is already struggling with anxiety or depression, this kind of pressure can make things much worse. There was a 2020 report from the National Institute of Mental Health. It found that social media peer pressure can actually intensify self-harm behaviors. And you could argue the Salt and Ice Challenge kind of falls into that category.
Right. Hurting yourself for views.
Exactly. It makes you ask, what's the real price for that temporary online attention? Many survivors talk about feeling deep regret, wishing they could take it back.
It's just baffling, though, with all this evidence, the injuries, the warnings, the regret. Why does this challenge keep coming back? What keeps driving it?
It is baffling. It's a mix of things. A big part is, frankly, how social media algorithms work.
How so?
Well, they're basically designed to promote stuff that gets high engagement. Lots of views, likes, comments, shares. And unfortunately, dramatic or painful challenge videos often get huge reactions.
Shock value gets clicks.
Precisely. A study from Cambridge in 2021 found that content causing strong emotions, shock, pain, even dark amusement gets way more views, like up to 40% more than just neutral stuff. So there's this built-in incentive to create and share these kinds of videos.
Which keeps the cycle going.
Yeah, exactly. They can rack up millions of views before platforms even notice or take them down.
And then there's the psychology of it, especially for teenagers. Their brains are still developing, right? Impulse control isn't fully there.
That's absolutely key. Adolescents are just more susceptible to dares, especially ones that promise social status or that quick hit of online validation.
Is there data on that pressure?
There is. Pew Research Center, back in 2019, found that something like 63% of teens feel pressure to get followers or likes. That directly fuels participation in risky trends like this.
63%. Wow.
And add to that the sort of game structure of the challenge. You're competing, right? Who can stand the pain longest? That taps into competitive urges and kind of masks the real danger. Makes it seem like fun.
Until it's definitely not fun. And it seems like the platforms aren't always catching this stuff. You hear about content moderation failures.
Yeah, that's another big piece of the puzzle. I mean, platforms like TikTok, YouTube, they do have policies against harmful content.
But the enforcement is often really inconsistent.
Yeah.
There was a 2022 report, Center for Countering Digital Hate. It found that about a quarter of dangerous challenge videos they looked at stayed up for more than 48 hours after being reported.
2 whole days. That's ages in internet time.
It's critical time. That delay allows videos to spread, inspire copycats, and just keep the whole harmful cycle going before the platforms manage to react.
Okay, so it persists. But thankfully, there has been a response from doctors, schools, parents. What's been done on the public health side?
Well, we've definitely seen warnings from medical experts. Dermatologists, organizations like the Mayo Clinic, they put out clear statements about the risk of permanent tissue damage. They urge parents to talk to their kids.
Have hospitals seen an impact?
They have. The American Burn Association actually reported about a 5% increase in pediatric burn visits to ERs that were linked to social media challenges, specifically between 2012 and 2020.
Wow. And schools. Schools have gotten involved too. You saw districts like some in Ohio back in 2018 sending newsletters home, warning parents specifically about the Salt and Ice Challenge.
And what about community efforts? Have there been campaigns?
Yes, there have been some good initiatives. I remember one in 2017, Know the Risks, run by a burn center in Chicago. They shared survivor stories, which can be really powerful.
That sounds impactful.
It can be. But the problem is these efforts often feel a bit fragmented. Getting broader systemic change like mandatory digital literacy in all schools is tough. There are hurdles.
Like what?
Well, things like debates around free speech online, sometimes pushback from the tech industry itself, and as we mentioned, the platform's moderation often relies too heavily on users reporting stuff after it's already spreading.
It's just too slow.
Way too slow. It really bugs the question, what could platforms be doing before it spirals? Proactively.
Right. Like, couldn't AI tools be trained to spot videos showing, I don't know, salt and ice being held on skin? Or maybe even recognize the pained reactions, flag them instantly.
That's definitely a possibility being explored. Or imagine if searching for Salt and Ice Challenge triggered an automatic pop-up warning.
Yeah. Redirecting users to maybe, like, safety information instead of the challenge videos themselves. Wasn't that suggested officially?
It was. The Surgeon General proposed something similar in 2023. We need more proactive measures like that.
Are there any examples where platforms have done something similar successfully?
There are. Think about TikTok's partnership back in 2021 with suicide prevention groups. They worked together to better flag and handle self-harm content. That could be a model for dealing with these physical harm challenges, too.
So it can be done.
It suggests it can. But the core issue, the critical insight here, is that until the platforms truly put user safety above maximizing engagement numbers, these dangerous trends are likely going to keep finding ways to thrive.
So bringing this all together, breaking the cycle really needs everyone involved, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It has to be a collective effort. What does this all mean for us, right?
Yeah, like parents having those open, maybe awkward, but necessary conversations with kids about online risks, stressing that no amount of likes is worth a permanent scar.
Exactly. And schools integrating real digital literacy, teaching critical thinking about online dares, understanding consequences.
And the platforms have to step up, investing in that proactive moderation, working with health experts.
Definitely. And public campaigns, using those survivor stories we talked about, can be really powerful in changing how people see these challenges, framing it not as a game, but as the serious health risk it is.
It's clear the Salt and Ice Challenge isn't just some harmless prank gone wrong. It's a really stark reminder of how social media can kind of normalize incredibly risky behavior.
Leaving lasting scars, both physical and emotional.
So here's something to think about. As information flies around faster than ever, and these trends pop up overnight, what's your role? How do you spot dangerous content? How do you advocate for a safer online world, whether it's for you, your family, or your community?
That's a really important question for everyone to consider.
It is. If you found this deep dive into the Salt and Ice Challenge insightful, and you're looking for more great information like this, definitely check out Mind Expansion Daily.
Great resource.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive today. Stay safe out there and stay informed.